1, 2, 3.
Together, 1, 2.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jose Romero, and I will talk to you about a pretty controversial topic called dollarization. We're in the holiday season, as you all know, and according to many statistics, over $52 billion were bought for holiday shopping. In 1991 terms, this would amount to around $36 billion. In 1971, this would be something around $9 billion. 1951, after the end of World War II, would amount to around $6 billion. So the power of the United States dollar is not held on by inflation. As you know, it is the most used reserve currency in the world. We're talking about 62% of all the reserve currencies in the planet. It is also used in 4 countries besides the United States, we will go that later: Panama, Ecuador, and Salvador, all in Latin America. We'll explain why later, and the country of East Timor in Southeast Asia. It is also unofficially used in 17 other countries and U.S. territories. The question is why? Why is it so important? Why is it so powerful? You know, the concept of dollarization is something that has arisen pretty much since the history of money. It is something called currency. We all use bills, we all use cents, and we all trade with these. They'll trade with one another. Dollarization is an effective tool, but it also leads to certain consequences. And today I'm going to speak to you about the differences between each and every one of these types of dollarization. Dollarization is, according to International Monetary Fund, the use of any foreign currency, in a local currency. As you know, the top dollarizing currencies are the Canadian dollar, the US dollar, the euro, the British pound, the South African rand, the Indian rupee, the Australian dollar, and the New Zealand dollars. These are important, especially since the end of the Cold War, since their importance dominates their spheres of influence. For example, many of the former French colonies in Africa are part of the Eurozone and are joined to the C of A franc. In addition, the US dollar, due to the American sphere of influence over the rest of the Western Hemisphere, the use of the dollars in Ecuador, Panama, and Salvador are important. There are actually 2 main types of dollarization. The first one is unofficial, where the currency is periodically substituted with another currency. According to a woman called Sarah Kanan, Argentina is around 85% dollarized, Uruguay 75%, while Mexico is barely dollarized. It is important though. For example, we have Cuba, which during the special period dollarized until the introduction of the Cuban peso. The official dollarization, however, is actually mandated by the government, which we will explain by each of these 4 countries. And it is important to notice this because, for example, not a lot of people were happy. This is a picture from Ecuador in the city called Riobamba. It was changed to Sucre Park, but a disgruntled person changed it to Dollar Park. Actually, these are 4 countries. For example, Panama in 1904 agreed to dollarize with the Balboa after it was independence. Ecuador from 2000 to 2001 had the most dramatic dollarization ever, just like at the telenovela, because the president said, we have to dollarize, we're on a crisis. He got thrown under coup. El Salvador also had low inflation rates given to its almost post-war status, but chose to dollarize to become attractive to foreign investments. However, East Timor, one of the latest countries to dollarize, was agreed by the United Nations to use the US dollar just to stabilize its economy. This is really important because the dollar is actually an investment tool, a way for you to stabilize your nation, a way for it to give stability. Economic stability equals political stability, as you may see in each of these 4 cases. Dollarization is important because, as you may see, the loss of independence involves the loss of independent seigniorage. This, for example, This, for example, involves, as Tyra Maroney says from the Initiative for Policy Dialogue, this is actually damaging it may be damaging for a country, because whatever happens in Washington will affect in San Salvador or Quito or even Rio or maybe even Dili, the capital of East Timor. And it involves your pockets, because however the dollar behaves in your pockets will behave in the rest of the world. The euro, however, is also taking a hand in this dollarization, because foreign policy is essential. It's almost a tie-in to the economy of the dollar. Whatever will happen, there is no precedent over changing or de-dollarizing, even though talks have happened around the world. For example, even with the populist policies of President Rafael Correa of Ecuador, the country has had a stable inflation rate and has been saved by the dollar, even though they have never had the chance to switch, and they won't do so in the meantime. In the end, there's a special word that dollarization almost rhymes with: globalization. That's why I say, the behavior of the economy, as we see for example, we're seeing in Europe, in the southern countries like Greece, Italy, Spain, which are all under the dollarization of the euro, that crisis will become effective around the world. We have read that on Forbes. We have read that on The Economist. We have even read that on the National Enquirer, even though nobody reads that. There's also another important thing: the ripple effect. It's also the domino effect that many Americans tried to avoid during the Cold War due to communism. This effect of dollarization is important for us, because we're in the holiday season. We need to buy. It is important for our quality of life, and it also is important for the management of the future of our country, because whatever happens here will happen for the rest of the world. Any questions?
Thank you.